Check, check, 1, 2, hey, hey. Do you ever plug in your guitar and you're just like, why does my tone suck so bad? I've been there, I got you. Maybe it's like really muddy, or maybe the sound is just a little too thin. In this video, I'm gonna give you 5 things that you can do to help improve your overall guitar tone. But before we jump right into that, I just want to address some common issues because there could be a ton of factors that really are affecting the overall sound of your guitar. Amp settings, which we're going to address in this video. Pedal settings, which we're also going to address in this video. Using the wrong gear for the desired tone that you're trying to achieve. Or maybe it's just your hands themselves. Have you ever heard somebody say like, tone is all in your hands, or it's just the way that that particular artist plays? I do believe that there is a little bit of truth to that. And we're gonna discuss all these things in the video, but right now let's jump into 5 different things that you can do to make your guitar sound better. You can go from your guitar sounding like this to this. So in this video, I have a song that my brother and I recorded, or we're recording right now, and I'm just gonna showcase some of the guitar stuff in it and how we can maybe adjust some of the tones in it. The first thing you should always do for good tone is make sure your damn guitar is in tune. Tip number 1 is dialing in great amp settings. And the place that I recommend guitar players start is start right at 12 o'clock or noon on all of your EQ settings, which is just all your EQ knobs straight up the middle. Just throwing out there, I love moving knobs around on your amp, and I highly recommend doing so that way you're experimenting, you're getting to know the amp, you're getting to know exactly how it sounds, but a great place to start overall is noon on an amp. For the purposes of this video, I'm just using my orange rocker verb because I know that this amp sounds great. Right now, we have no reverb on it. I'm in the dirty channel, and the EQ, the low, mid, and the high are all at noon, and the gain is at noon as well. The volume is just set at 4, and in context with this song, it sounds like this. So this sound right here is good, but let's say we wanted a little bit more low end, a little bit more thump in the guitar tone. Boost the bass on the amp, and I'm going to boost a little bit of the treble, and I actually might even take away a little bit of the mid-range. This is also known as scooping the mids. It's a pretty common thing. I see a lot of guitar players do it, or I hear a lot of guitar players talk about doing this, and it is going to sound like this in comparison. This guitar sound has a bit more clarity, a bit more bite to it. I didn't even touch the gain, which is the overall distortion level. You can get a ton of different tonalities just by moving your EQs around. To me, it adds a bit more depth to my tone right off the bat. But let's say that we wanted it to be a little less bright and more dark and more mid-rangey. Boost the mid-range, and this time cut a little bit of the treble. Okay, tip number 2 is going to be using an equalizer pedal. This is an EQ pedal. This is just the Boss GE7. By using the EQ, you can do some things to shape your tone more clearly. I might take a little bit of the low end mud and just cut it out. I am probably cutting about 5 dB of 200 cycles, 400 cycles, and 800 cycles, and it sounds like this. pretty cool how dramatically different you can get. So I use an EQ pedal just for tightening certain little frequency bands up just a little bit here or there. Tip number 3 is setting your gain level. So up to this point, we have just had the gain knob at 12 o'clock right up the middle. The more gain that you add to your signal, the more compression you're gonna get, the more distortion you're gonna get, the more noise you're gonna get, and sometimes a little bit less clarity. There's typically a happy medium. I know some people like to crank the gain all the way up and just let it be like super noisy and super distortion-y, but a lot of the times you can get a desired effect with step 1, which was just EQing your amp in the correct way. I typically go for a great rock sound because I play mostly rock in a rock band, and I like to have the gain up just a little bit. The more gain that we add though, again, the more noise floor that we're going to introduce. So for this example, I'm just gonna take the gain and put it up just a little bit. I just give it just a little bit of a boost to give it a little bit of a depth, a little bit meaner and a little bit more aggressive. With that, the EQ and the equalizer pedal here, we're gonna get a vastly different tone that sounds like this. Just tightening up that tone as we go. You hear how that tone is like really beefy? It's just got a great like click to it, a great thunk to it. Now that I'm playing it and going over this tone just a little bit more, I feel like we could improve it just by adding a little bit of low end. So I would actually take these knobs and boost them instead. I was cutting them, but let's see what happens if I boost them and then I cut a little bit of this right here. Tip number 4 is proper microphone placement. And depending on where you put your microphone on your guitar cab, you're gonna get dramatically different sounds. But typically speaking, if you put your mic dead center, it's going to be brighter. And if you put your mic off axis from the speaker, it's going to be a warmer and darker sound. And if you want to add some of the sound of the room that you're recording in, you move your mic further back. Here's with the mic dead center on, which is where I've pretty much been recording this whole video at. Now I'm gonna move the mic off axis. And now I'm gonna move the mic off axis and a couple inches back from the cabinet itself. Yeah, 3 completely different sounds that you can get just by moving the microphone just a little bit. And the last tip that I have for you today is to add a reverb and a delay to your guitar sound. This is gonna give your sound some depth and some space. Luckily on this orange amp, I do have a little bit of reverb, and I just like to add a little bit of reverb. If you add too much, it can actually make your sound too muddy. I like to just barely turn it on, just like this. Just a little bit of depth. If you add too much, you can hear it. I like stuff that's subtle, just kind of tucked in there, so I barely turn on any reverb. And from there, I like to add just a little bit of delay. Just to recap, what I've done with my tone here, I have boosted a little bit of the treble, I have scooped a little bit of the mids, I've boosted just a little bit of the bass and just a little bit of the gain. Took my microphone and I have it dead center for the brightest tone. I have an EQ pedal where I am boosting just a little bit of the high end here and a little bit of the low end bump here. And finally, I have a little bit of reverb and a little bit of delay. So guys, let me know, did this help you out? Let me know in the comments if you have any other advice for other guitar players, and if you just want to start a guitar chat. Again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Cliffhanger, this is Riff with Cliff, and these were 5 different tips on getting a great guitar sound for you. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.